the state of our society is not really good. There's so much promiscuity. There is so much degeneracy that has been spreading in the world, especially in recent decades. And so you see so many scandals, so many people doing some very fishy things. And so today I'll be talking about a scandal that has happened in Equatorial Guinea. I'll not talk about the specifics per se, but I want to talk about what this means and how it reflects on the state of our nation, on the state of Africa, on the state of the world at large as well. And then we'll also touch on something that Elon Musk said concerning the US election, because this is very important. And if you are there and you're not really concerned about what is happening in the US, believe me, you have to start being concerned, and I'll tell you why in this video. So before we get into it, please like the video, comment in the comment section below, and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive into this. Elon Musk went on the Joe Rogan podcast where he was talking about the US election and also his own progression, especially as someone who is an innovator and inventor himself, as a physicist, what he has done, at the same time talking about his involvement with Trump in his election. And so he's talking about the importance of this election that is happening in the US. And I want you to listen to him and see what he says. Let's do that now.
It's going to destroy democracy. So in order to destroy democracy, we have to install a president without a primary.
Right.
We have to have a candidate that is the least liked vice president of all time, the least popular vice president of all time, and then use gaslighting and the full force of the media machine to turn her into the future and hope.
Right.
And then she's going to be changed, even though she's a sitting vice president. And then on top of that, this idea of change when the Democrats have been in control for what, 12 or 16 years?
Right.
Which is crazy. Like, this is the change.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I view this election as a turning point, like a fork in the road of destiny that is incredibly important. I've not been politically active until this election, and the reason I've been politically active this election is because I think if we don't elect Trump, I think we will lose we will lose democracy in this country. We will lose the two-party system, and let me explain why. So there's only like six or seven swing states. The margin of victory in those states is small, often like 10 or 20,000 votes. What the Democrat administration has been doing is importing vast numbers of illegals into swing states. You can look at the numbers on the actual government website. I mean, you don't take my word for it. You'll just look at the numbers as reported by the government, which is controlled by the Democrats. And what we're seeing is triple-digit increases in the number of illegals in every swing state. In some cases, 700% increases. These are gigantic numbers. So if you have a state that that has a 10 or 20,000 vote margin, and you put 200,000 illegals into that state, you 10x you swamp the. It's not a swing state anymore. It's going to vote blue, and then once the swing states vote blue, there is no election anymore. There's only a Democrat primary,
Which is so crazy. And it's so crazy that people are fine with that.
Well, I guess people on the left will be fine with that because they think that's a good idea.
They just want to win. They just want to win.
Correct. Like the thing is, like one does not need actually any grand conspiracy theory for this. You just have to look at the simple matter of incentives. If the Democrat Party wants to win, like basically achieve permanent victory, all they need to do is turn the swing states blue. They have permanent victory, and then we're a one-party state, and then they will keep doing that. Obviously, they will keep stacking the deck by bringing in vast numbers of illegals into the swing states. Keep stacking it so that the next election, each successive election, will be worse than the last one. And that's what's happening. And if you want to see, like, well, is this actually going to happen? Well, look at California. California is supermajority Dem, 70% Dem. A month ago, they passed a law making it illegal to show ID in any election in California. So a friend of mine went to vote in Palo Alto because he was like, "Is this for real?" He tried to show his ID, and they reacted like if you show a cross to a vampire. Okay, they're like, "No, we can't even look at that ID." It is illegal for them to even look at your ID if you want to present it in California.
Why?
For any election at all, even like city council.
What logical reason other than to cheat would you ever have that law?
The reason is to cheat.
It's only like you can never make an argument any other way. And I think 84% of people polled believe that you should show ID to vote. So it's against the will of the people.
Yes, and we are extremely rare. We're an outlier in not requiring ID. Basically, almost every country on earth requires ID to vote. So as soon as you ban ID for voting, it makes fraud impossible to prove. Because how do you trace the fraud?
Right. Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
It's insane.
And what I'm saying is that
how is it legal?
What I'm saying is, like, this election is the last chance to preserve democracy in America. Mark my words. Everything they accuse Trump of, they are guilty of. And if Trump doesn't win, this will be the last real election in America. And we will, if the Kamala if the big government Kamala puppet machine wins, they will legalize the illegals in swing states. There will be no swing states. Every election going forward will be a guaranteed Democrat win. And it'll actually be worse than California. The reason it'll be worse than California is because the one thing that keeps California from being super crazy is that you can move out of California, like you and I did. You and I used to be in California, but we moved to Texas. We're still in America. But if the Dems win this election, they will legalize enough illegals to turn the swing states, and everywhere will be like California. There will be no escape.
That is so insane.
This is the final. This is it. This is the last chance.
And so what you notice is that you have the Republicans, which are the conservatives, and also you have the Democrats. And what you'll see is that these two parties come with their own agendas, they come with their own disadvantages and also advantages. If you're a believer in the US, I would hope that you are more aligned with the Republicans because most of their policies are in line with what the scripture espouses. Of course, there is no perfection in Donald Trump and there is no perfection in Kamala Harris. But one thing we can say here is that the policies of the Republicans are more aligned with what the scripture teaches and not what the Democrats want. The Democrats are the ones who want people to become transgenders. The Democrats are the ones who are fighting for gay rights. The Democrats are the ones who are fighting for abortion. They're the ones who are trying to push this identity politics and keep people in their victim mentalities. These are the people who are fighting for this. But the Republicans are people who are fighting against this indoctrination of children and trying to disrupt the family and trying to disrupt the churches and things like that. They're fighting against these things and these injustices. And at the forefront of what the Republicans are espousing, especially Trump, is the economic growth and rise of America, and at the same time, peace in the world. I would hope that someone who is a believer, you would want that there will be no wars all around the globe, would be at peace, and America would remain the top superpower, because there are so many advantages that come with America being the superpower, especially if there is a sane president at the top. But now I was talking with somebody here in Malawi and trying to find out what their thoughts are on the US election. And they told me that for me, I'm thinking about which one will benefit Malawi more, Trump or Kamala Harris. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And the person was like, if Trump gets into power, he says that he's going to have an agenda that puts America first. Are we going to receive any donor aid after that? I'm like, are we serious right now? Are we really looking to remain beggars? Are we really looking to remain dependent on America? Because at the end of the day, if we want to be receiving handouts with conditions that end up affecting our values and our cultures, then okay, if that's what you want. But we have to find a way as Malawi as well to become self-sustaining. I know it's difficult, but over time, I believe we have to be gearing towards that, because at the moment, the way we are right now, whatever happens to America affects us directly. But one thing we don't want is a weak America, because we don't want wars around the world, because that will affect us as well. And so we need to really get our priorities in order, because the donor aid that comes to Malawi, it doesn't really help us, because it puts us in more debt sometimes, because it's not really just donor aid, it's donor aid with conditions. At the same time, we also are borrowing a lot. And so that does not really help us, because it's just putting us in debt. And so at the end of the day, it's very important that America remains in power. I don't want to have a world where the supreme leader of China is on top. But anyways, I think we differ in what we want, but that's how I view it. I would think that someone who is in America right now and voting, I don't see why what they see in Kamala Harris really, because she really doesn't have anything to give. Even me from Malawi, just listening to her talk, ritually it's emptiness most of the times. I don't know what people are saying in her, even for them to consider her to be a good candidate. I don't really get it. But anyways, I believe that sometimes people run on emotions when they're casting their vote. But I hope that you can think critically about what is good for your economy, what is good for the peace of the world, what is good for the strength of the US and things like that. I hope that will be helpful. Now, to the second story. So in Equatorial Guinea, a scandal just hit the airwaves, and this just kept on appearing on my Facebook feed, and I was like, "What is really going on here?" And this is not a story that I'm very comfortable talking about because of what it is. It is about, and it's about this man by the name of Baltasar, I think Engonga or something like that. And so what he has done is very, very degenerate and it's very dirty. But I'm going to talk about just give you a glimpse as to what it's about. We'll not go into details because of the nature of what he has done. But now, this man hit the airwaves because the police had maybe were after him because of some corruption charges. But in their investigation, they ended up finding tapes of him maybe sleeping with so many women who were wives to prominent people in Equatorial Guinea. Actually, the number goes up to 400 women. Okay, that's how degenerate this man was. And I'll just read a part of the article that talks about this. It says NIF officials discovered multiple CDs that documented Baltasar Engonga's sexual relations with prominent women, such as his brother's wife, the president's cousin and sister, the director general of the police's wife, and the spouses of over 20 ministers. The footage was found in his office, was allegedly taken with consent and has since gone viral online, sparking a media uproar. So this is what this man did. I couldn't believe when I saw that, but at the same time, it was not surprising. Here's why. I want you to understand something. Our world right now is so pornified. People have consumed so much pornography. People have been watching movies that are borderline pornography to the point that sometimes when people see these things, their heart don't even hurt. They don't even cringe because for them it's just become commonplace for them to be hearing these things, at the same time getting involved in some of these things. There are so many things that happen in some workplaces where you see that people are just promiscuous and there is no boundaries, there are no restraints in people anymore. People have no self-control. People lack dignity in most places. And when the world is consuming pornography like this, these are the end results. You see people willingly getting involved in this. Now, you can actually see that this man was not forcing these women. These women are actually coming to him. You have to wonder to say, what is going on in people's marriages? You understand? This is why I'm so passionate about this area of life, purity, and also relationships, because most people don't know how to do these things. Restraint is no longer part of the game. People don't know how to remain faithful. People don't know how to remain loyal to each other in marriages anymore. And so we have something to fight for right now. This is not a good story coming out of our continent. This is something degenerate. This is something disrespectful. This is something that is it's not good for the reputation of our people. And so we need to really be concerned because young people are seeing this. And the more these things happen, because they've been happening a lot, and if they keep on happening, what will end up happening is that young people will start to consume this stuff. And these ideas will become normal and they will no longer maybe inspire anger in us, inspire a revolt in us, because they'll just be commonplace. Of course, this is not Malawi, this is Equatorial Guinea, but it affects us because it shapes the narrative on social media and it affects young people. You imagine a 15-year-old reading about that. Even some people may even be tempted to search for the videos, and that's not a good thing. What I'm telling you right now is that we need to be serious about our values. Okay, we need to be serious about these things. This is why, for me, if you have a young person, if you have someone you know, maybe a sibling, somebody like that, please get them to this content that we produce on this channel. Let them be watching some of it. You can even buy books, my books for them on these topics. You never know what people need to learn. Otherwise, this world is not going to a good place right now. So that's what I wanted to say on this issue. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to hear your thoughts on the US election and also the nature of what has happened in Equatorial Guinea. Please comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a good one.